Hi guys, how you doing? This is Ben, the Real Estate Pro, coming at you, hopefully going to kick you some knowledge. So today I want to do something a little different because most of the time when I do these videos, I'm coming to you as a loan officer or a real estate agent, but today I'm going to come at you like a consumer. Okay? Because I can't really advise you on your particular situation, especially over YouTube. We would have to have a meeting and we would have to talk about your needs as far as what your goals are for real estate, whether you want to buy or sell. But today I'm going to talk specifically more, or this video is going to be more about sellers and people that are thinking about selling their property in the near future in the post NAR settlement world. Okay. We have some new rules that we have to abide by, and I think it changes what you as a seller, or at least what I would ask as a seller to an agent that I would hire to sell my property. Okay? So let's talk about some basic questions. Now you're going to see a myriad of different videos on YouTube about what questions you should ask. Some of the questions that I see are pretty common, and then you also have to remember the answers to a lot of those questions are rehearsed. Okay, one of the things that a lot of real estate brokerages do is they go over questions that a prospective client may ask, and you essentially rehearse an answer, okay? Which that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I want something a little more authentic, so I ask questions a little bit differently, okay? So the first question, or one of the questions I should ask, this isn't in any particular chronological order, is do you have any other jobs besides being a real estate agent? Now, a lot of videos would ask you, hey, do you do this part-time or full-time? And I don't ask it that way. And the reason why is because there's a lot of full-time agents that have part-time jobs. Okay? Um, when you first get into this business, a lot of people are part-time, but they want to transition into doing it full-time. Okay? So to me, being part-time isn't necessarily a disqualifier, but what I want to know is if they do it part-time, how are they going to overcome this disadvantages of being a part-time agent? For instance, their availability may be affected. If they have a full-time job, they're going to be at their regular job for most of the day. How are they going to address situations where, maybe me as a client have a question during the day, and I need to get a hold of them for whatever reason, especially if you're a buyer and you want to go take a look at a property, how are they able to overcome that situation? Okay? So just because they're part-time doesn't necessarily, make them or disqualify them for me hiring them. I want to know if they are part-time, what do they have in place to be able to service me as their client? Do they have a broker, or maybe they have a co-agent, or maybe they have a team behind them that's going to help me when they're not available? Okay? And on the full-time side of things, just because, like I said, just because you have a full-time agent doesn't mean they don't have a part-time job. They may not be available during certain times. And if they're not available, the same question. What are they going to do to overcome those shortcomings? Okay? Do they have another agent that I can call? Do they have a team that I can call that's going to be there to be able to take care of me when I need them? Okay? Second question. What did you do before becoming a real estate agent? And what I'm looking for here is background. Okay, what did they do? Maybe they worked at the DMV. All right, and I want to know that because working at the DMV may not be a great background, to become a real estate agent. What I want to know is maybe they were a loan officer before. Maybe they worked at an escrow company. Maybe they worked at a builder. Maybe they were in construction. I want to know what type of background that they have because it may relate and come in handy, okay, depending on my scenario during the sale process. Okay? The next one. Do you have any other sales experience? And I ask this question because not every agent has sales or communication skills. Okay? A lot of agents, and if you're an agent, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of agents out there, they kind of come into the business. Why they like the idea of making some money. They like the idea of being an agent, but they really don't have any communication or sales skills. So I want to know, have you ever sold anything else? Maybe at one time you might have done some telemarketing. Maybe you sold cars. Maybe you sold door to door. Okay, all those things are skills that I find valuable. All right. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's valuable in every case, but it's things that I want to know because has this person received some training in communication skills? Has this person received some sales skills training? To me, being that I am a salesman, okay, and I have had sales skills and communication skills training, to me, it's very important that if I have an agent working for me, that they have those skills. Okay? Next, when are you available during the day? Some agents have family or personal time and aren't available. And the reason why I ask this question is even full-time agents that do this, they don't have a part-time job, they do this full-time, some of them will not take phone calls after 6 o'clock, or they will not take phone calls between 11 to 1. Okay? Or they will tell you, if you call me after this time, I won't get back to you until the next business day. I want to know. Now, maybe in some cases it's not a big deal, but for me it is a big deal. If I have you working for me, I want to know when I can call you in order to get some help, or I want to know that you're available pretty much all the time. Me personally, I tell this to my clients all the time. I'm like 7-Eleven. I'm open 24/7. You can always feel free to reach out to me. That doesn't necessarily mean at 3 a.m. I'm going to answer my phone, but don't hesitate to reach out to me when you feel that you need to. Because if I am available, and I've answered my phone at 11 p.m. before, okay? Or I've texted you back, or texted my clients back at 1 o'clock in the morning before, okay? Don't be afraid to get a hold of me. That's just me. But if I'm hiring an agent, I want to know if there are times that they're just not going to be available. Whether they have a part-time job or they're working full-time. Like I said, there are some agents, they just don't work during certain periods of time because they see it as family or personal time. Okay? Now, those are just the basic questions that I'll ask. Now, here are the hypothetical questions that I would ask if I'm selling my property and I'm sitting down with a listing agent and listening to their presentation. These are some hypothetical questions that I would ask them. Why are they hypothetical? Because I want to see what type of response I will get by asking these questions. Is it possible that maybe these agents will get up and walk out or get a little irritated with these questions? Yes, but that's fine because I want to know what their reaction is, because if I ask them these hard questions, it tells me how they're going to react if they run into a problem with a buyer or a buyer's agent. Very important, okay? Because if they can't be honest with me, or if they can't, be professional with me, and they're supposed to be representing me, I can only imagine how they might treat a buyer or a buyer's agent, okay? I don't want to offer a buyer agent commission. How will you market and sell my house? I want to know how they will handle this scenario, okay? And the one thing that I want to find out is if they want me to do as they ask versus them doing what I ask. This is what I mean. Let's just say that you have an agent that all of a sudden tells you why you shouldn't, or why you should offer a buyer's agent commission, and why you should do things their way. Okay? What that tells me is that they don't know any other way to sell your home other than the old system of just putting your property on MLS and waiting for a buyer's agent to come along with an offer. Okay? I'm not necessarily saying that's bad, but what they're asking you to do is make their life easier. All right? And if I'm hiring an agent to sell my home, I think and if there's a fiduciary responsibility, and I have certain wishes, I think that those wishes should be listened to and accommodated. What I'm looking for is, do they have a plan? All right? Do they have a scenario? If they say, well, that's fine, you don't have to offer a buyer's agent commission, we'll still go ahead and market your property. We're going to go ahead and reach out to buyers to come to us directly, and that's how we intend to sell your home. Well, that's a plan. Okay? That's not them trying to get me to make their life easier, or me get into their program. I want to know if there's another possibility here. I want to know how they would handle this hypothetical situation. Now, I may go ahead and decide, hey, I'll go ahead and offer a buyer's agent commission, okay? But I want to know, if I don't, what are they going to do? All right, next one. If I do offer a buyer agent commission, what will you do to minimize the expense and maximize my net proceeds? Okay? Once again, do they have a plan? Okay? How are they going to accommodate that? That's something that I want to know. And this is gonna surprise a lot of you, but a lot of agents, if you follow this, what I would do, if you ask these questions, I think you'd be surprised at how many agents have no idea what they're going to do. Okay, you're going to hear a lot of hems and haws. They don't really know. To them, they've just been so used to listing the house on MLS and waiting for a buyer's agent to come along. They really don't have any other plan or any other way of marketing your property and selling it. Okay? So for me, I want to know, hey, if I offer a buyer's agent commission, well, how are you going to limit the amount that I have to pay them? I mean, you are supposed to be looking out for me, and you are supposed to, you have a fiduciary responsibility to go ahead and look out for my interests. And my interests are to make as much money as possible on the sale of this property. How are you going to handle that? Okay? Next question. Are there any costs you incur to market my property? Okay? And what this will tell us is it'll tell you if they market your property off the MLS. Okay? So if they're spending money to, put your money, let's say, I don't know many people that do this, but let's say put it on the newspaper. Okay? Or maybe they put it in different magazines or periodicals that go around in your particular location. Or perhaps there are other websites that they may incur costs for to help market your property. You want to know if they do that, okay? Because what that tells me is if they don't do that and say, well, no, we don't really do that, what that tells me is this is probably one of those agents that just lists the property on MLS and just waits for a buyer to come along. Now, I'm not saying that particular model doesn't work. Obviously it does, okay? But it does tell me if this agent will go above and beyond the norm in order to sell my property. Okay? Guys, don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay? Agents should be working for your business. Okay? I know a lot of home sellers, sometimes they would tell me this, they felt like they were working for the agent more than their agent was working for them. Okay? And if you feel like that, guys, you've got the wrong agent. You need to get back to basics, maybe even fire that agent, or better yet, at the very beginning, interview about 2-3 agents and ask questions that are something like this. Now, you don't have to ask hypotheticals such as this. Maybe you have questions that are more important to you, okay? But in a hypothetical situation, it requires them to think. And the other thing is, it's going to be really hard for them to rehearse some of these answers, okay? So anyways, guys, hopefully that helps you. Like I said, we're in a new world that, as far as, how real estate transactions are going to be handled, especially from the seller's point of view. And if you have, like I said, if you have questions, ask them. Don't be afraid. The worst thing that you could do is not ask the questions that you need to in order to ensure, or at least maximize the possibility that you are going to have the best agent you can possibly get. All right, guys, this has been the Real Estate Pro. I'll talk to you next time.